Today on Fluent Football, we are going to look at a big problem that nearly everybody learning English has, and it is something that you need to know about. Hello everybody, welcome to Fluent Football, the channel that teaches you everything you need to know to speak fluent English for football, just like a professional. If you are a coach, an analyst, or even just a fan of the sport, this is the channel for you. Recently, I made a video about regular and irregular verbs, which are very common for football. You can find the video here. I want to continue on this topic because there is a problem that comes with these verbs, which a lot of people have when they are trying to communicate in English. And it is something that will really get in the way of many people if they are trying to reach a level of fluency or even just try to learn to communicate very well in English. Before we get too far though, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons to make sure you don't miss out on any of the latest content coming from Fluent Football. So, you might be wondering what exactly this problem is. I will get to the details of the problem in a moment and how you can solve it. Before that, let's have a look at what type of problem it is and why it is so important for an English learner. Now, the problem we're going to look at today is a pronunciation problem. And if you are an English learner or a learner of any language, I probably don't need to tell you too much about why pronunciation problems can be big problems. However, we will have a quick look at two of the main reasons you need to focus on your pronunciation. Firstly is the obvious: communication. If you have poor pronunciation, it doesn't really matter how good your grammar is or how big your vocabulary is. If people don't understand the words you say, you cannot communicate with them. And if you don't know the correct pronunciation of certain words and phrases, you won't understand other people when they speak. Secondly, but just as important, confidence. I am a language learner also. I am currently learning French, and I am always worried about my pronunciation in French. Any word with the letter R in French is a nightmare for me. For example, this is almost impossible for me to say in French. Ferrero Rocher, Ferrero Rocher, Ferrero Rocher, Ferrero Rocher, Ferrero Rocher, Ferrero Rocher. I think one of those was good. And I know many people feel the same about the TH sound in English. Words like though, through, or even just thank you can be very difficult. How about you? Comment below and tell me what words or sounds or phrases you find difficult to say in English. When you don't feel confident in your pronunciation, it creates a lot of problems. It makes you very hesitant to speak and communicate in English when you really need to, because you don't want to sound stupid. Okay, now that we've had a look at why pronunciation is so important, let's jump into what exactly this problem is. Like I said, this problem relates to one of my recent videos about regular and irregular verbs. I strongly recommend you go back and watch that now or after this video, because it is directly related to what we are speaking about today. Now, you will be happy to know that this particular problem only relates to the regular verbs. So you do not need to go and memorize and learn a long list of irregular verbs for this pronunciation point. What is the problem with regular verbs? Well, the problem comes up when you make them past verbs, when you put them into the past tense. Let's take the example mark so you can see what I mean. Here's an example sentence. The centre back marked the forward tight on the edge of the box. The problem comes up when you add ed at the end of the word. What is the correct pronunciation for this word here? Have a think about it. Try even saying the word out loud to yourself, or if you need to, go back in the video and listen to the example sentence when I said it. Think about it. What is the correct pronunciation for this word? If you said marked, as in the centre back marked, the forward tight on the edge of the box, you would be wrong. The correct pronunciation of this word is marked. In this case, the ED makes the sound of a T.
Of course.
Now, if you are thinking, well, that's not so difficult, I just make the ED sound like a T, great, thanks Matt. Think again. Take another word, like for example, play. What is the correct pronunciation of play in the past? Is it played? Is it plate? Well, in fact, it is neither of these, it is played. In this case, the ED sounds like a D. You have the D, but the E is silent. One more example. Take the word cheat. I'll give you an example sentence. The Argentinian legend cheated and used his hand to score a goal. What is the correct pronunciation of cheat in the past? In this case, it is cheated. We say the ED. So that is the problem. The ED sound at the end of a verb in the past causes a lot of confusion and can be very difficult because you can pronounce this sound in 3 different ways. Let's have a look now at how to solve this problem. In a minute, I am going to tell you the best way to solve this pronunciation problem. But it is important to know that there is a rule on whether or not to use the T, D, or ED sound in the pronunciation. However, the rule is very complicated, very difficult, and personally, I think the rule creates more problems than it solves. For that reason, I am not going to explain the rule to you in this video. For those of you who really want to know the rule, I will put in the description below a brief explanation of the rule. However, I want to stress that I do not think it is important to learn this rule. Okay, so Matt, you don't want me to learn the rule, so what do you want me to do? Well, I think the best way to solve this problem is simply by learning the sound that goes with each verb, and we will do that right now. I will give you some of the most commonly used regular verbs in football, and I want you to decide where they belong. Should they take the T, the D, or the ED sound at the end of the word when you put it into the past? Don't forget to count how many you get correct. Here we go. Number 1 is dribble. That one is dribbled with a D at the end. Number 2, tackle. That one is also tackled with a D sound at the end. Number 3, kick. That one is kicked. It takes the T sound, kicked. Number 4, foul. That one is fouled. Takes a D sound, just the D. Number 5, attack. This one is attacked, just like the kick, attacked with a T at the end. Number 6 is defend. That one is defended. Defended. Takes the ED sound at the end. Number 7, score. This one is scored. Goes in the D column. Number 8, pass. That is passed with a T sound at the end. Passed. Number 9, press. Press is in the T column. Pressed. Number 10, exploit. This one is exploited, goes in the ED column. 11, control. This one is controlled, has a D sound at the end. Number 12, track. Tracked with a T at the end, T sound. 13, deliver. Delivered with a D sound at the end. Number 14, switch. Switched with a T at the end, switched. 15, provide. Provided, provided, ED at the end there. Number 16, overlap. Overlap is overlapped with a T sound at the end. 17, receive. Received with a D at the end. 18, clear. Cleared, also with a D sound at the end there. Number 19, faint. Fainted. We pronounce both the E and the D. Fainted. Number 20, the last one, is scan. Scan. And for this one, it is scanned. Also has the D sound at the end, but we don't pronounce the E. Alright guys, how did you go with that? Comment below and let me know how many you got correct. I hope you didn't find it too difficult. If you found it quite difficult, don't worry. Keep watching Fluent Football and make sure you memorize these words, and eventually it will be natural for you. Thanks again for joining me, guys. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to get all the latest content from Fluent Football. Cheers, guys. I will catch you next time.